show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Jill Schiller has been missing in action, and now we know why. Did you know that Jill Schiller, candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, got away with a dangerous offense? Her friends and connections at Cincinnati City Hall turned their heads when she was racing through a Cincinnati public school zone doing 52 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. She could have killed a child. As a mother of 3, that's concerning. 25,000 children are injured each year because of speeding in a school zone. 100 children are killed in school zones each year by people like Schiller. Schiller should have served 5 days in jail as the law states, but being privileged kept her out while you, the public, would have gone to jail. Her friends and connections at City Hall only fined her $60, and they quickly destroyed the evidence the next day. We cannot trust Schiller with our school children. Should we trust her to protect and safeguard our tax dollars? Vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. We can trust him to safeguard our tax dollars and our children.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
You're listening to The Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Hey, good morning, family. Welcome back. Nathan Ivey with you, your humble host. Welcome back to Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show that focuses on the Black community, live, local, and vocal. Listen, many things to discuss this morning. I want to give you a heads up on what you can expect on the show. Coming up at 9 a.m. this morning, we're scheduled to speak with Ann Flotman. She is running for judge here in Hamilton County, so we'll learn more about Ann and hear more about her campaign. Along the way, many things to discuss, family. Let me turn the camera on. Hey, there we go. Hey, welcome to my home studio. I actually live here. Come on in. The family is sleeping right now. They'll be awake soon. What is it? A little bit after, about 7:43 a.m. this morning. Pleasure to be with you. And listen, please take a second to like and share this show. I've been saying it all week. I'll say it again. When you share the show, more people see it. It's real simple. Very, very simple. I can't be everywhere. Please, let's extend the reach of the show. And since we put the show up on Facebook and YouTube, and primarily on Facebook, the reach of the show has grown exponentially. If I told you how many people we reached in the last couple of weeks, you probably wouldn't believe me. From where we started, you probably wouldn't believe me. It's all because of you. I appreciate you. And I got some big news to share with you this morning as well. Now, everybody knows this show is powered by the good folks over at Sin Digital Media. And their message and their mission, should I say, is to amplify Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. And to continue with that mission, we have unveiled multiple new podcasts over the last couple of weeks. I've told you I've been working on 6 new podcasts, 2 of which are original, 4 of which were existing podcasts, but they're coming over to CDM. And this week we kicked it off. So if you missed it, I just want to remind you, you can check back to check out Ask Ashley. A lot of folks in Cincinnati know her, and her Midday Juice show is now with CDM on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And essentially people send her emails, direct messages, but primarily she takes them through email at oneasksashley@gmail.com on life, love, relationships, and everything in between. And then she answers them during her live stream. We've got a lot of big plans for that show. So again, it's up on CDM's page right now. That's Sin Digital Media. Can't forget that. Also, make sure you check out Fast Pictures with the Valet Service Podcast. And in her latest podcast, she asked the question, why do black women feel so unsafe around black men? Now, unfortunately, Mr. Black Rambo TV wasn't able to make it, but she's reconnected with him, and just check out the next episode next week. So we'll have some more information shared with you on that. And also coming up today at 12:30 p.m., the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B. And Donnie B is going to be talking with Carrie Bloom, who is a candidate for juvenile court judge. And most recently, she was the moderator for the NAACP. I mean, can you believe it? Did a white judge actually say during the NAACP forum that systematic racism does not exist? She was the moderator. She'll break it down today at 12:30, as well as other things. Don't miss that show. It's a lot of fun, a lot of very interesting information, and a very unique perspective as well. Okay, a very unique perspective. Now, along that lines, and I guess I'll tease a little bit, and I'll reveal it coming out of the first break at 8:30 a.m. We've got a brand new podcast. Now, this is an original podcast that has never existed before, and it's going to be debuting and produced by Sin Digital Media in partnership with, well, I'll tell you who the partnership is at 8:30 when we reveal the cover art to you. Now, if you're a patron, I uploaded it yesterday, so you got the exclusive update, and you already know, you've already seen it and gotten details. Yet another reason why I think you should become a patron if you like this process, because this is a process, all right? And you can say that you were in from the ground floor and join our mission. Just go to Patreon/Nathan Ivey Show. But to my patrons, good morning to you. You already know because I uploaded last night. Shh, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'll reveal all at 8:30 a.m. this morning, and we can talk about it. All right. I'll need your help in growing that podcast as well. So lots of stuff is going on. Just the tip of the iceberg. Yesterday, I had a very interesting conversation with an Ohio State rep about what it will take to bring protections to the black family, to protect people from being the victim of racial or any kind of bias in the state of Ohio. It was a very productive conversation. That's as much as I can share with you right now. But there is movement. And as I can give you more information, I will share with you. I'm 100% focused, 100% serious. And if you are as well, then there's opportunities for you to join the team so we can make this happen. All right. Many things to discuss. 513-873-7134. If you would like to share your thoughts, this number, you've got my number there. All right. It's a free call anywhere in the country and in most places in the world. If you have any problems connecting with the show, hit me with a DM, and then I'll do what I can do on my side. All right. Good morning to everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you had a great 24 hours. All right. Y'all ready for this? Let's get it. Let's get it. Good morning to you. Let me start inside the chop shop, shall we? Miss D writes greetings. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. It's Friday. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag Team and I. Good morning to you, Jared. Cruther writes, good morning, Choppers. Good to see you, Cruther. Steeler fan, but you always good. I ain't forgot. I have not forgotten. Clue Magic writes, Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppers. Tracy writes, hi. Pat writes, good morning. Sharp writes, good TGIF, Nate and the Choppers. Clue Magic writes, they say they were kidnapping the governor at the behest of the president, all behind mask mandates? Trump pansies are strange creatures indeed. Yeah, I mean, basically, we'll get into it, but there was a plot that was uncovered by the FBI. And I completely understand that the cover art is a little bit cynical. Still think that Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat? FBI stops plot to kidnap governor of Michigan and start civil war. I mean, even here in Hamilton County, there are candidates running around talking about how Black Lives Matter is some kind of Marxist organization, and I don't even know what the hell that means. What are they trying to communicate when they say that? You know what I'm saying? You know, you got people out there that have branded the Black Lives Matter movement as being like at the tip of the spear of some kind of civil war. Meanwhile, the backwater bubbas and their AR-15s are really starting to try to bring about a civil war. All over mask mandates, which tells us, Clue Magic, that it really doesn't matter what. The mask was nothing more than an excuse. I want to make this point again. I want to make this point once again that humans, Americans, are far more dangerous than coronavirus. Humans are far more dangerous and destructive and lethal than the coronavirus. The coronavirus is whipping through our country. You got people that have politicized it. You got people out there getting arrested because they want to go to the football game and not wear a mask. You see that? White woman was arrested by a black police officer. I was halfway looking to hear the news that the black police officer was going to get fired. How dare you put your hands on this white woman, right? I'm just being real with you. It is what you is. You get what you get. When you listen to the Nathan Ivey Show, I keep it 100 with you. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I was halfway looking to see that. Did you see the video? If not, I've got it for you. I'll play it for you this morning. She got arrested at her son's football game because she didn't want to wear a mask. She was screaming, "Get your hands off of me. I didn't do anything wrong." Oh, you didn't? Put your mask on, Karen. So you remember you had armed militia that showed up in Michigan. This was after Donald Trump, the president, tweeted, "Liberate Michigan," is what he tweeted. This is the president of the United States. What do you mean, liberate Michigan? Did you know that the Proud Boys start selling shirts that read, "Stand back and stand by," after the last presidential debate? So what does this tell you? This tells you that there are people out there that are picking up on what Donald Trump is communicating. You got a conspiracy theory called QAnon. And part of it is that Donald Trump is sending subtle and subliminal messages whenever he speaks, right? To update the people out there about his efforts to stop the crazy pedophiles. Meanwhile, the real pedophiles, like Jeffrey Epstein, are still out here preying on our kids. And you got folks out there that want to believe in made-up theories called QAnon, that Donald Trump is like Superman behind the scenes. And he's on the low stopping this plot. It's a plot of the Democrats, Jeff Bezos, Hollywood aristocrats, and sexual pedophiles, right? And they're all conspiring against the righteous white man and Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is doing what he can on the low, right? Do you think that Donald Trump has that kind of ability? When has he ever displayed that? The man lost money on a casino. Who does that? But you think that he's a part of some kind of sophisticated plot. Not you, not my listeners, not you. Because we're too smart for that dumb ish. But I'm saying you as in the general you as people outside of us. It's ridiculous. And these backwater bubbas sitting around making t-shirts, stand back and stand by. Like, yeah, it's a rallying cry. Like, no lie, y'all. They really turned that into a rallying cry. So I'm not surprised to see the backwater bubbas, was sitting around. Look at this image right now. Remember Lupe Fiasco? My voice is not there. American Terrorist. Remember that? That song came out, like 10 years ago? Lupe Fiasco was so on point. Google it right now, American Terrorist. I won't do it because of copyright issues, but American Terrorist is on YouTube right now. He talked about this. You know what I'm saying? The FBI has said this, that white domestic terrorists pose a huge threat. Meanwhile, you got people running around here talking about Black Lives Matter. What in the hell? I'm in Hamilton County. I'm in Cincinnati right now. I'm wondering if any of these Republican Party types are going to tweet anything about this. Because they love to talk about how Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization. And can somebody explain to me what they think they're trying to say? Because it's not computing. I don't understand. I don't get it. 513-873-7134. Let me get into some of the details here, man, because this is real. There was a plot to abduct and to possibly kill Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. She's a Democrat and she's a white female. And why did they do this? Why are the backwater bubbas so upset with her? The backwater bubbas are upset with her because she instituted a mask mandate. Can you believe it? She became the target of coronavirus skeptics, flat earthers, basically. The modern day version of flat earthers. Ain't no coronavirus. And then the president got it. So where are these coronavirus skeptics at now? The president and many members of his cabinet and staff came down with coronavirus, but they think it's some kind of hoax. Oh, yeah, it's a Chinese virus And the Democrats are trying to make it more than what it really is. Well, when it comes to the mainland of the United States, it becomes It becomes a U.S. virus. And the Democrats, from what I understand, were just trying to sound the alarm so we could get out ahead of it. But Donald Trump didn't do that. 6 men, well, really 8 men, were involved with the plan to either kill her or to hold her. They were going to try her for treason. Like literally. They were going to kidnap this white woman, blow up. Apparently, they had driven past her house a couple times and surveilled the whole scene. There was apparently just like a bridge that leads to her property. They were going to blow the bridge up as a means of distracting her, knock on the door, kidnap her, jump into a boat, drive away, or motor away, right? And then if police showed up, they were going to get Molotov cocktails, which is kind of like, you get like a glass bottle, let's say a bottle of some soda or whatever. You get a glass bottle, you put some kind of, chemical accelerant in it, something that's very flammable. You light it with, I don't know, because I guess you tear up some old rags or you tear up your Black Lives Matter t-shirts or something like that, stuff it in there, boom. If you play Warzone, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? And throw that on the vehicles. Now, I don't ever hear this coming from black folks, but everybody's so afraid of black folks, though. This ain't the first time. Back during my administration, you have some backwater bubbas who were former military. 2 of them were current military at the time. And it was 4 of them, maybe 5 of them. They got together to hatch this plot. They were going to drive to the U.S. Capitol, kill a lot of people, try to kidnap some senators and or kill Barack Obama. But then 2 of the members, all of these white folks, by the way, 2 of the members decided that they didn't want to go through with it. And guess what the other 3 members did? They killed them both. They killed a man and his girlfriend, buried their ass in a shallow grave. And then federal authorities or local authorities found out the plot and were able to stop it. This ain't the first time. These backwater bubbas been planning this stuff. You know what I'm saying? They want to move beyond just tactical training. That's boring to them. They want to actually go kill and murder somebody. So let me get this straight. They wanted to kidnap the governor of Michigan, create some kangaroo court, and put her on trial over a mask mandate. We are truly living in the last days of common sense, my friends. I've been telling you for years. Now we're just getting more evidence of it. We are living in the last days of good damn common sense. Good damn common sense. Shauna writes, should we call this white on white crime? Right. I hate to be so cynical, but the stereotypes of the black community, the Black Lives Matter movement, black people in general are far too much out there for me not to. I have to make this point this morning. Everybody people literally run around here. It's a Marxist organization. Oh, it's dangerous. Oh, these peaceful protesters. Oh. Meanwhile, these backwater bubbas out here trying to murder, kidnap, and kill people. On the real. Like for real. No movie plot. This ain't no comic book. Like for real. Over a mask mandate that would benefit them and their families. There's no wonder. Now we understand how this country's so messed up. It's the people. I would say that 30 to 35% of the population is the problem. 30 to 35% of the U.S. population is the problem in this country. They're holding us back with their messed up mentality and they're just BS. Just brains made of cheese whiz. You know what I'm saying? Bodies made of cheese whiz. Just problems. I've made this point before. I'll make it again this morning for the umpteenth time. If you ever watched that show, The Walking Dead, for any length of time, then you know that the real monsters are the people. It's not the zombies. It's the people. Good science fiction is commentary about the real world. Walking Dead is science fiction and good science fiction and commentary about the world that we live in. We are the problem, right? They are the problem. Humans are the problem. It is a damn shame. It really is. You still think that Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat? From what I see from Black Lives Matter, they asking for equity policy intangibles and maybe a mural on the ground here or there. The backwater bubbas want to kill and murder and kidnap people. Throw Molotov cocktails at police vehicles. You don't hear that coming from Black Lives Matter. I hear Black Lives Matter talking about equity policy intangibles. Matter of fact, within the last week on their website, the official Black Lives Matter movement website, they got a brand new ad cancel campaign. So Black Lives Matter is coming up with ad campaigns. The backwater bubba is coming up with white terrorist plots to overthrow the government. Yeah. And you got a president that's soft on white supremacy because any crowd that will clap at his corny ass jokes and his BS, he'll roll with them. It could be a crowd of gargoyles and demons straight from the inner chamber of hell, sent by Mephisto, aka Satan. And Trump would entertain them as long as they clap at him for his little and laugh at his corny ass jokes. Literally. And this is leadership. I only laughed because nothing is funnier than the truth, as Muhammad Ali said one day, or once said. Nothing is funnier than the truth, my friends. Nothing is funnier than the truth. Good morning to you, family. Please like and share today's show. Your shares mean everything. Again, please like and share today's show. When you share the show, more people see it. Real simple. Good morning to you. I'm in the chop shop right now. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Good to see you. Miss Tiffany writes, good morning. Cassandra writes, hey, Choppers. Clue writes, right, it doesn't matter what the trigger issue was. They are going to try and force a civil war because they already see the writing on the wall of how things will go down, right? These white men, look at these white dudes. And you know what the real feeling is? If, this goes back to that Rush Limbaugh stuff from 25 years ago, the righteous white man is under attack. I'd like to know the educational level of all of these individuals. If you're white in America and you feel like America's left you behind, then that means that you've been sitting on your lazy ass for too long. You're white. What else do you need? Go out there and make it happen, Captain. Run around talking about you don't have opportunities. Go make it happen. You got the same opportunity every single day, the same 24 hours as everybody else. Plus, you're a white man. Go make it happen, Captain. And if it don't happen, don't blame Barack Obama. Don't blame Nancy Pelosi. Don't blame the Jews and the gays and Black Lives Matter. Blame your lazy, flabby ass self. That's who brought your reality to you. We all grown folks. The world that we live in is usually a manifestation of the decisions and choices that we made leading up to that point. Go make it happen, Captain. They're taking all the jobs. I'll say it again. If you were born in this country, especially if you're a white person born to this country, and you're worried about competing with illegal immigrants, then you didn't do something that you were supposed to do, period. Straight up and down. You didn't make it happen, Captain. You must have been laying around talking dumb-ish, thinking that your privilege was going to make it happen for you or something. You better get your ass in college. You got to go make it happen. You better come up with a business idea or something. Run around complaining about you. I don't give a damn about me. I ain't competing with that. You should, if you were born in this country, you had every opportunity. Some more than others, but you had every opportunity to make it happen. You didn't make it happen. It's your fault, Captain. It's your fault. Don't blame the world. Blame you. That goes for white people, black people, any people. Don't blame the world. You're a grown-ass person. Go make it happen. If you ain't willing to do that, then keep your mouth closed. We don't want to hear all of that whining. They're coming over here taking our jobs. Why are you competing with the job of somebody that don't even have a social security card? Why you compete with somebody that's off the grid and can't even be here legally? Think about that. I just keep hearing Lupe Fiasco's American Terrorist over and over in an endless loop in my head, man. He was so on point. No way y'all deserve the alt middle. Good morning anyway. Okay. Well, maybe the alt middle doesn't deserve us, NBA boy. Trump is the big dog whistler. Trump will work. He'll whistle. He'll do any dog whistling he needs to, right? As long as it helps him. That's who he is. We knew this before he got in office. That's why many of the smart people didn't vote for this buster. It wasn't like you thought Hillary was the greatest thing ever, because she wasn't. She would have been a whole lot better than Trump. But everybody was running around talking about how they didn't want a politician. They wanted a businessman. Oh, that worked out great. It worked out perfect. That worked out perfectly. Thank you so much, America. America, we don't want that. Thank you so much. I did not get a chance to watch the debates for the 1st Congressional District, but the Cincinnati Enquirer is not doing Steve Chabot any favors. They're saying that it seemed like the response that he had to every question was Green New Deal. Green New Deal, Green New Deal. And that just goes to show you just how little he's done for the 1st Congressional District and just how much of a threat Kate Schroeder is to his chances for re-election. I hope that the people in the 1st District vote that buster out. And if they do, it'll be a better day for you in the 1st Congressional District, in my opinion. Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New. What the hell does that mean? This is some of these Republican focus groups. They focus test this. They go to these smart guys that do polling and they call people on their cell phone. I've been getting more phone calls about polling and re-upping my auto insurance, which I don't want to do, and all kinds of stuff to my phone. I'm just blocking shit every day. Every day. Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New Deal. Is that right? I didn't get a chance to see it, but is that correct? That's hilarious. Green New Deal, Green New Deal, Green New Deal. Because that's what busters do when they don't really have anything to talk about. Right? Nothing at all. Back to Michigan for a second here. So I remember there was a black female Michigan legislator, and she complained that she was being intimidated. She complained that she was being intimidated because, you know, there were some armed militia members that were like, I guess, escorting her like to and from her car into the State House. Remember this? And now it's coming out that there was some grand plot that was stopped by the FBI that infiltrated them. Glad to see they're doing that. They had infiltrated this militia group. They were called the Wolverine. Let me see it here. The Wolverine Militia or something like that. Another word Wolverine was a part of. The Wolverine Militia. Yeah. Check this out. The FBI also uncovered, and this is why it matters to Ohio, and we're a part of this on some levels. According to a sworn FBI affidavit, an undercover law enforcement source attended a June meeting. Guess where the meeting was? You guessed it, Ohio, right here at home, where a group of these Michigan militia members discussed overthrowing the government because they believe that the government was violating the U.S. Constitution. Some tells me that if you took a microphone and went to these dudes and asked them to tell you the Bill of Rights, they probably couldn't do it. They probably couldn't do it. It's just a limited Fox News filtered understanding of what they want it to be rather than what it probably really is. Again, I'm spitballing here. I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. I don't have to be right about that last flow, but listen, let this marinate. I'll come back to it. For now, let's go to the phones and say good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you, Nathan. This is Charmaine McGuffey running for sheriff of Hamilton County.
Hey, what's up, Charmaine? Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I am on my way to the Board of Elections, so I am encouraging everyone to get out. As we know, early voting has started. We've had a tremendous turnout, and I am encouraging everyone to get out, make your voices heard, and vote. And I will be over there all morning to encourage people to do that. But one of the reasons I'm calling is I would love to be scheduled for your show because my opponent, Bruce Hoffbauer, has purchased ads on African American radio that are telling outright lies about me, and he is trying to discourage African Americans from voting. That's what he's trying to do. And I would love to come on your show and address those lies and gossip that my opponent, who quite frankly is a bully, is putting out there.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're on now. You got a little bit of time?
Okay, sure.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All
So I
right.
haven't heard these ads. So what's the
Okay.
nature of them? What is he saying?
Well, one of the ads apparently says, and I haven't heard them either, but people have been calling me who know me and they know how outlandish these things are, that I sucker punched a black officer, an African American officer. And that is an absolute lie. First of all, if I had ever done that in my career, there would have been a charge. I mean, that's criminal, right? And secondly, where that rumor stems from is I was a self-defense instructor. I was an accomplished self-defense instructor for 20 years. I taught all over the state of Ohio, and I had a particular partner, my lieutenant. I was a captain, and he was a lieutenant, and he taught with me. And he does happen to be an African-American man who I respected very much and who I worked with for 20 plus years, teaching and so forth. And we did thousands of scenarios around the state, in the tri-state. There are probably women out there listening to this show that attended our self-defense classes because we taught them all over the city. And to really teach self-defense and really do it right when you're teaching police officers and so forth, you do live scenarios. It's like getting in a boxing ring, as you might imagine. And my opponent is 6'4". Okay. My partner, he was 6'4". He outweighs me by 100 pounds. And I just have to call it out. You know, Bruce has promised him to stay on with the department when Bruce becomes the sheriff. And he's encouraged him to say that I somehow punched him in a drill. I mean, that's like a boxer going into the ring and then coming out and saying, oh, my opponent hit me. So I want to address that with people, that I absolutely did not do that. That is a falsehood. I've been involved in so many scenarios with self-defense, and anybody that's ever out there that's boxed or done any kind of sport that's full contact like that, you think that, you know, you're not going to take a hit or get a hit, which I have had plenty, you know, and then complain about it years later when there's absolutely nothing documented about it. It absolutely didn't happen. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this, because I haven't heard this, but I'm really interested now. So you're telling me that it's an ad running where one of your former colleagues, a black man, is his voice in the ad?
I don't believe it's his voice. I don't believe it's him. I think they have someone. I haven't heard it, but it may be his voice. He is currently he backed Jim Neal when I ran against Jim Neal, and came out to say these things about me. He worked with me for 20. He came to my house for parties. All my friends knew him. I mean, you know, the only thing I can think, honestly, Nathan, is it's one of those things where you kind of save yourself, right? You're going to stay on because the guy that's there is encouraging you to do this, and that's what I think. So yeah.
So do you mind saying this individual's name? Because I'd like to reach out to him and perhaps get him on the show and get to the bottom of it.
Oh, all right, you can. You know he's going to come on there and act. Okay, Earl Price. I'll tell you his name. He's a major with the sheriff's office. He's going to come on there and talk about working with me for 20 plus years. We ran the academy. Every recruit knows it. Every officer we trained know it. And now, and he's never had a bad thing to say about me all that time. And now he has all these things about how I'm a horrible person and all of this kind of stuff. And it's just not believable. That's how I feel.
So he's this is laughable. So this 6'4" grown major, this black man who you were friendly with, is allegedly saying that you sucker punched him during a drill.
Yeah. Yes, that's what he's saying. Yes. And acting like first of all, that's not true, number one. And number two, I mean, if you saw him and met him, I think you would shake your head like, what? I mean, I'm 5'7". I weigh maybe 150 pounds, you know, and I trained with him. I mean, we did so many scenarios, I can't even count them.
Wow.
You know? live scenarios where we were literally, grappling on the ground, punching and hitting and doing all those things, because that's how you teach self-defense. It's a rough business. And not too many women go into it. I was injured in a lot of different drills, but I just kept going. And and anytime I was injured, I documented it, which is policy and procedure. And I put it out there. There is absolutely not one documentation of anything like that happening. And now all of a sudden, 30 years later, it's going to be talked about. It's a lie.
So, wow, this is interesting. Is he currently a captain with the Hamilton County Sheriff Department?
He's currently a major with the Sheriff
Department.
Department. Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
So is that above captain? Again, I'm surprised. I just don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
After Jim Neal fired me for speaking out against excessive force and those kinds of things, he promoted this guy to major. So he would have some diversity at his table,
And did you and Mr. Price ever have any issues with one another?
No, he came to my house. All my friends know him. He's been to my parties. We worked together for years. And I'll say this, we taught all those self-defense classes we taught together. That was all volunteer. It was volunteer. At any time, he could have said, hey, I don't want to do it. And I know that there are women out there that have had our class because we trained thousands of women in Cincinnati. And when you've had our class, you've been trained, because we did the real deal. And I've experienced, there's been lots of, in the self-defense industry, in the boxing world, jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to, name it, there is full contact. And, we've had, oh my gosh, officers come out with black eyes, and, one officer broke his ankle on a drill. It's what happens when you do realistic stuff. So I just have to call it out. And, and I respect my partner, Earl. I respect him. I think he's a great instructor. I think he has a tremendous amount of skill. I've worked with him for so many years. I just, I don't know what to say, but that's all I can think of, right?
Wow.
Is, hey, when you got a guy telling you, hey, I'm going to give you a job or whatever he's been promised, and he'll probably say he hasn't been promised anything, but come on, So I just had to call it out, because I finally had to address it. It's been out, it's out there, and I'm happy to talk about it. And there you go.
Well, Charmaine, thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for trying to clear this up.
Yes, sir. I'm sure there'll be more to come.
Oh, I expect that as well. That's Charmaine McGuffey, everybody. Appreciate her calling in. Again, I was not aware of it. I just don't listen to, the only thing I'm focused on is what I'm doing. So I don't really listen to what other people in the market are doing outside of the digital space. That's really where my focus is. And I'll be honest with you, when I worked in terrestrial radio, I didn't really listen to other shows. I didn't. And I didn't do that for a lot of different reasons. Some of which was I just wasn't that interested. But the other part was because, when I deliver a flow, it's 100% my flow. And sometimes when you're listening to other people, their thoughts can affect yours. And I never wanted that. And when you hear me talking, it's 100% inspired by me. Unless I say otherwise, like, hey, I seen somebody say this, or I heard someone say it. Other than that, this is just it's my gut in my head. So that's interesting. I'll say it again, man. These Republicans, I want to say this again. And I'm going to talk about this from the media angle and the political angle and the cultural angle. So from a media standpoint, you can tell me your thoughts about that. But if you're the radio station, if you're the media platform, it's just dollars to you. Is there a line? Yeah, there's a line. But, it's political season. You're trying to get those dollars. And so what might happen now is Charmaine McGuffey might feel compelled to spend more money on that station so she can put the word out to combat it. So if you're the media platform, it's all good. It's all gravy. Democrat, Republican, good ad, bad ad, makes no difference. Long as the check cashes, right? If you're the salesperson, and I still have friends in the sales department there, cha-ching, you getting your percentage. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. I don't know. I mean, do we expect black media to be anything different? And if so, is that something we should expect to not play certain ads? I mean, I've just told you my thoughts about it. I'd love to get your thoughts about it as well from a consumer standpoint. From a cultural standpoint, I ain't surprised to hear it because, you know, the black community could not be in a position that it's in for so long in this city, in this county, if it wasn't for black people playing a part in it. I'll say it again. If it wasn't for black people playing a role. Now, you know me, I'm not going to run too deeply with it until I hear it for myself. I'll take Charmaine's word for it, that in fact there is a real ad, but I like to hear it for myself before I really get busy with it, get blizzy with it this morning and go at this brother. But if it's true, I'm sure he's said it and doing it because he's got something he's trying to get out of it. You know, maybe he's been promised a new command staff or something like that. Now let's talk about Bruce Hoffbauer. I told you about Bruce Hoffbauer. We broke the story on Bruce Hoffbauer on this digital platform, on this show. It was the first time in Cincinnati that anybody had heard about Bruce Hoffbauer. We scooped all of the media, right? They might have heard about it, but they weren't fearless and tearless like me to put it out there and be real with it. So this is why I said about Bruce Hoffbauer is that you got to be careful about people who are willing to say and do anything. Now, on some levels, this is politics. You know, it's politics. It comes with the territory. You know, hey, better buckle up. Get ready for it. You put your name out there in a hotly contested, you know, a season like this is. And again, the fact that there's so much anti-Trumpism out there is only going to feed the negative ads. Think about what's happening here locally. You know, you got Andy Black and Republicans that, you know, putting their stamp of approval on a political flyer that is, you know, in the opinion of some people is racist. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, right? Then he stands by it, right? Now you got Bruce Hoffbauer, who killed a man back in the 90s, an unarmed black man, and doesn't want to talk about it and says it was suicide by cop, even though there's no evidence whatsoever to support that. Now he's running negative campaign ads on black radio stations. And again, you know, on some level, it's like almost an assault of the intelligence. But again, if you're the media platform, you put it out there and you let people decide for themselves. You know, hey, you should be smart enough to understand it, or maybe the particular host will talk about it and break it all the way down. That's quite interesting. I did a little Google research real quick to see if I could find an image of this brother. And I've seen him before on television or maybe in the background, if in fact that is him, Earl Price. And again, you know, his last name is, again, I haven't heard it, but let's say it's all true. His last name is apropos. Every man's got a price. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But I appreciate Charmaine giving us the scoop, calling in this early. That's why I love being early in the morning, getting up early, getting to what's what first. Please like and share this. And when you share it, just make sure you tell people that, you know, Charmaine called in and gave her perspective on this negative campaign ad that's circling out there. I want to say this again and shout out to Fame, you know, because I've reached out to people and said, hey, listen, we reach in tens of thousands of people every single week with the Nathan Ivey Show and Sin Digital Media. If I told you the numbers, you wouldn't believe me. You would not believe me, I'm sure, but it's all facts on facts on facts. And there are multiple ways to reach the black community. I know everybody thinks it's only one way. I'm here to tell you, you are missing out on a very golden opportunity. The people listening to this show are not just voters. They are influencers. I'll say it again. The people that listen to this show are not just voters. They are influencers. These are people that is doing all kinds of stuff in our community. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Life is good over here. It is. The opportunity is for you. To all the candidates out there, the opportunity is for you. You can either take it and multiply your message or do the same old thing and reach the same old people. I keep saying it. It is what it is. But I appreciate that. Quite interesting. I ain't surprised. The desperateness of the Republican Party is going to make them do this. And again, if Bruce Hoffbauer had any real qualifications, he'd be talking about his qualifications. I mean, it just sounds dumb. So Charmaine McGuffey at 5'7" punched you in the stomach during a drill 20 years ago. What? Who cares? And you weak ass man, so what? You should have had your guard up. Get your Bruce Lee on. And I've got to hear the ad to hear more of it to ascertain what's going on. But that sounds dumb as hell. Just off the top of my head, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds dumb. It sounds absolutely stupid. Oh, I guess she's just so aggressive. Charmaine McGuffey is just so aggressive that she's running around here punching black men in the what? Again, I haven't heard it. I don't know if it's true or not. So again, until I go super hard and get blizzy with it, I got to hear it for myself. But if in fact what she's saying is all the way true, you got punched in the stomach back on a training drill, and you wait until now to talk about it? I mean, did she break your ribs? A little sensitive little man, you little soft belly. Did she break your rib? I mean, what are we supposed to do with that? But enough of me. Let's go to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. This is Carmen. I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, Carmen, good morning.
Good morning. I heard that ad yesterday when I was in my car and I was enraged. I did not hear anyone intending that they were the victim of an assault. What I heard was that she was a dirty cop. They claimed she was a dirty cop. They claimed that Hofbauer is supported by Democratic leaders, which implies, of course, that he is the Democratic candidate. I was horrified. This is on a predominantly black radio station? I couldn't believe it. The ad runs without any commentary or any follow-up from the station itself. I'm done.
Now, what about the host?
I
Are the
would never
hosts?
vote for him.
Hey, Carmen, what about the host? Are the hosts delivering any commentary and trying to set the record straight?
Nothing. Zip. Nada. They go on with what they're doing. It's just another commercial. But you got to hear it. It's foul.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm interested now. You're right. I got to hear it.
It is foul.
Is that right?
They claim that Democratic leaders support Hofbauer. They do not name names. Okay? But the innuendo is that he is somehow the Democratic candidate. You gaslighting us now?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what it feels like. You come on our station. You don't come on any debates, but you come on our station with your propaganda. It is foul. And I happen to be listening this morning. God bless you, because somebody needs to address this. Truly.
Hey, Carmen, thank you for the call.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Well, again, I understand it. And listen, let me tell you, family, this is a startup. Sin Digital Media, the Nathan Ivey Show. This was born out of just two things, a continuation of what I've been doing and a desire to 100% control what I do with my God-given talents, but also a really, really deep commitment with the community here to provide an independent voice. And I'm here to tell you, you know what I'm saying? I got a family, I got a wife, and, that costs money. But I have turned down thousands of dollars potentially because it just wasn't right. I couldn't be associated with it. And I haven't heard the ad. I'd have to hear it to tell you what I would do. But all money ain't good money. I'll just put it like that. All money is not good money. And just know this with Sin Digital Media and the various podcasts is that, the people that put ads here have no control at all, zero control over what we say, how we say, and what we say, and when we say it. There is because you advertise here doesn't give you any editorial control whatsoever. That's understood from the jump. And if you don't like it, then we just can't do business, period. So that's why I asked, I mean, are the hosts offering any commentary? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, I could give you my inside thoughts. I'll say it again. When you work for other people, you work for other people. You don't have no control. It's the illusion of control, right? And you know what I'm saying? You know what your lane is and you stay with your lane. And there's a trade-off with that. You know, the trade-off is that they give you access to, you know, the entirety of the platform that they built. But, you know, having worked for that station, let me another correction. That is not our station. That is their station. It's not our station, because if it was our station, they wouldn't have been flip-flopping from music to talk back and forth when Obama was in office. That is not our station. I mean, there's great personalities. They care about Cincinnati. I'll say it again. I'm not here to criticize anybody in particular. I got a lot of friends down there, but that is not our station. Because if it was our station, when Barack Obama was in office, and it was flip-flopping back and forth between music and talk. Every time an election came up, if it was our station, never would have happened down there. As Sin Digital Media, we will never do that. It'll never happen. On the Nathan Ivey Show, it's never going to go down like that. You know what I'm saying? We will be here for you through all of it, thick and thin, bar none, period. And that's what you need to know. That's what the difference is with independent media, because, you know, we're just in it for a different reason, even if that costs us money. And I'll say it again. That's the reason why I say it over and over again. I would much rather have a direct relationship with the audience than work with advertisers and sponsors. I would much rather to be funded by the people, right, than by other folks, even though there is no editorial control whatsoever. That's just not going to happen. To me, that direct-to-consumer relationship is the essence of what independent media should be all about, for various reasons. For various reasons. So I appreciate that, Carmen. You know what I'm saying? I had to put the word in for what we're doing over here. It's never going, we ain't never going music. We're never going dark when the people need us the most. We're not going to put tape over our mouths when it's time to talk about what's going on. And we offer the most unfiltered Black voices in Cincinnati, period. Period. And nobody can argue against that. And if they do, they're hating. Let them know. Let them know. Please like and share this, family. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan Ivey. This is Ann Flotman, candidate for Hamilton County Domestic Relations Court Judge.
Hey, Ann, how you doing? We made it. We finally made it.
We made it.
We made it. If people only knew, I mean, unfortunately, I think it was more my side than your side. I know you tried to call in maybe once or twice before, and we were in the middle of stuff, but I appreciate your patience, and thanks for calling in this morning.
Oh, it's all good. I'm thrilled to be on. You have introduced me to the world of digital media. I don't have a lot of time on my hands right now because I'm still working full time. But when I have a chance in the morning, I don't have to make calls on my way to work. I hit you up. I love your show.
Thank you. Thank you. We grow every single day, and I appreciate you. So let's get straight to it. You know, let's talk about your campaign. Tell us a little bit about who you are and the role that you're running for.
So I am a domestic relations court magistrate currently in Warren County. I've spent my whole legal career in domestic relations. That's family law. The domestic relations court is where you go if you're having to end your marriage, or if you have issues after you've done that, like you need to change your children's schedule or the amount of child support that you're paying. And then we also handle domestic violence cases when the violence is occurring at the hands of a family or household member. So I've been married almost 40 years to my husband, Tom. We have 3 wonderful sons and 2 really great and very patient daughters-in-law, 1 grandson. And I was a teacher as my first career. I taught high school, and then I taught at Xavier for 10 years, but I had always wanted to go to law school, Nathan. I just couldn't. I put myself through college waiting tables, and the prospect of trying to wait tables and do law school, I just couldn't get there. And then my life took a different direction. I got married. I had my wonderful children. I was a teacher. But a little bit later in life, I went to law school. So I've been doing nothing but domestic relations for the last 2 decades. So I'm running as a Democrat. I'm thrilled to be running. People used to ask me in my career, because I practiced in Hamilton County for about 15 years, and I am a Hamilton County resident. people used to ask me, why don't you run for judge? And I was like, do you know what county you're in? Like, I'm a Democrat. Like, I'm not going to run for judge. That would just be throwing money away and time away. But fortunately, Hamilton County has trended, as you know, much bluer. And we have a really exciting, really diverse, really passionate slate of 13 judicial candidates running in Hamilton County, and I'm fortunate to be one of them.
Hey, Ann. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Hey, Ann.
I know
So tell us about, I know you touched it a little bit, but tell us about the roles and responsibilities, the types of cases that will come before this particular court.
So what we hear, for example, if I just think back to my career, the kind of cases that I tried would be, of course, representing a parent or a spouse and making sure that you got your share of the property that had been accumulated, making sure you got your rights as a parent protected, making sure you got a workable schedule for your children as they're going back and forth now between two households, which is not an easy thing for kids to have to do. I tried prenuptial agreements, grandparents' rights. I helped people like in juvenile court. I did a lot of cases for Volunteer Lawyers Project and ended up in juvenile court a lot, which is where you go for custody and support if the parents weren't married. If they were married, we're in domestic relations court. Then as a magistrate, now I do hear all of those same cases. I was asked to be a magistrate in 2014 up here in Warren County. And I really enjoy the court up here. It's not my home county, but at the time it seemed like a nice way to sort of slow down a little bit. If you're a good domestic relations attorney, then you are doing it at least 50 hours a week. People are in a crisis. They're going through one of the worst things they're ever going to go through. And you can't tell them, I'll get back to you next week, or I'll have my assistant call you in, a week. You've got to handle people and stay in touch with them. So as just a little slow down, I came up here. And as a magistrate here, I hear everything that I said, plus, unfortunately, a lot of domestic violence, which, Nathan, as you know, during Corona, the number of incidents of domestic violence has skyrocketed. And anecdotally, what we're seeing on the bench here is the severity of what the harm that people are inflicting on one another. So I do want to give this little plug. I think this is critical for people to understand because it's so hard. You were talking earlier this morning about, or I think it might have been yesterday, about how your listeners are informed listeners. They pay attention to the news, right?
Right.
And I get that. But so that means they're informed voters. But it's really, really hard for even the most informed voters to know how to vote for judges, okay? On the ballot in Ohio, there isn't a D or an R, so you can't just say, okay, I'm just going to go with my party. If you're not a lawyer, and even if you are a lawyer, how do you know a court you don't practice in? So domestic relations court doesn't have a jury. That's a really important thing for your listeners to understand. You're going to appear before a magistrate who's like an assistant judge, or you're going to appear before a judge, and that single one person is going to make absolutely life-altering decisions about the things that are most important to you, your children, your family, your finances, and your home. So that person needs to know what he or she is doing. And what has traditionally been the approach when the Republicans have run our county is to use these positions of magistrate or position or appointment of magistrate or selection of who would run for judge. That's been used as a political reward. You serve the party, all right, well, you can go be a judge or a magistrate over in domestic relations court. And it is heartbreaking how many people have had their lives messed up because the person hearing their case didn't have any experience in the area. This should be the pinnacle of your career in domestic relations, not the beginning of your career in domestic relations. I mean, it's just ludicrous to me, the chutzpah that it takes for somebody to say, yeah, I'll do that, when they have no idea what to do. So the other really important thing is, like in criminal law, you meet a certain elements of a statute, you're going to get convicted of the crime. If you're behind the wheel and you blow a 2.0, you're going to get a DUI. All right. It's black letter. In domestic relations court, we have a list of factors that we are to take into consideration in deciding whether your child is going to live primarily with you, half with you, and half with the other parent, whether your time's going to be supervised, how much your spousal support is going to be, and whether or not the property you had before the marriage is going to remain with you, or whether you're going to now have to divide it with the spouse in the divorce. So these are huge issues. And because we are looking at a list of factors, we have a ton of discretion. That means it's really hard to overturn the decision that one person is making about your life. So I hope that helps some of your listeners who are voting understand why these judicial races, especially in my court, it's so critical that person have experience in that field.
Mm-hmm. Ann Flopman is my guest. She's running for judge, domestic relations court. So what? I know I read your op-ed piece in which you said that one of the issues that we had here in Hamilton County is that the courts should have remained open during the pandemic. I think they closed everything down for some time, except for domestic abuse or domestic violence types of cases. Is that correct?
Yes, and to be clear, I was just addressing domestic relations court. I'm not. I believe a lot of common pleas, general division stayed open. I don't know about probate, and I know juvenile stayed open. But so here's the thing, Nathan. So nobody knows what to do, right? March 14th. What are we doing? There's a pandemic, and the Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice issued really specific guidelines for all courts, and even some that were just for domestic relations. And bottom line was, stay open the best you can using technology. So in Warren County, in Claremont County, and in Butler County, that's what we did. We moved everything to a phone call. So you still had your scheduled time that you would be before the court. And I'm now talking just about the divorce, domestic relations part, not the domestic violence part. So you still had your scheduled time. Now, granted, I can't make a decision with evidence on a phone call. You can't show me your documents on a phone call at that time. Now we're getting up to speed with Zoom and WebEx and whatever. But what we did is we called people and said, court is closed for you to come in here physically, but let's talk about what's going on in your case and see if we can come up with some short-term solutions. So we did that for cases that needed hearings. If your case was simply the final hearing on your divorce, where we sort of bless your paperwork, we just did that by phone. And if I were doing mediations, I do a few a week, I would do the mediations by phone. So we kept our cases moving, and that's true of the 3 counties around Hamilton County. What the 3 judges, including my opponent, did in Hamilton County was they shut down except from 10 to 2 for domestic violence. So just make sure if you're being abused that you get down to court in those specific hours, please. And even phone conferences with a judge or magistrate and 2 attorneys were rescheduled out until May. And then, of course, they had to be rescheduled again. So I fail to understand. I've talked about this with a lot of attorneys. I've thought about it. I cannot understand the basis for that decision. I wonder if it's because, as I said, nobody up there really understands the emotions of people who are going through a divorce and how much they need some assistance, how much they need a little advice or a little brainstorming about, how to solve this problem. So they're already in a crisis in their personal lives. Now we're in a global crisis. And people didn't know, what happens to the school schedule, Nathan? What happens to your parenting time schedule when you're supposed to pick up and drop off at school and there's no school? Which parents staying home to Zoom school with their kids now? It was a lot. And they simply turned their back on the public of Hamilton County. And I just will never be able to grasp why that was, especially when, I don't know, I can't speak for all 87 other counties in Ohio, but the only other one I heard of that did anything like that was Montgomery County. So every little county, every big county, your job is to serve the public. Keep your doors open virtually and get them on the phone. Now, my opponent posted about this time, toward the end of April, that they were having dozens of Zoom hearings every day, and the court was as open as ever. We've gotten the documents. At the time she posted that, there'd been a grand total of 2 teleconferences. So
that seems to be a discrepancy, to say the least.
I beg your pardon?
I said that sounds like a discrepancy.
Yeah. I mean, dozens and dozens every day. It's kind of hard to make that out of 2 from March 16th to April 20th, Nathan, 2. So I don't know. I'm just going to assume that somebody listening to you has been in domestic relations court, and they know what I'm talking about when I talk about the emotions of people going through the court. I stood next to hundreds of people, not just in court, but I listened to them in my office. I sat with them in settlement conferences. I worked with them in doing their pleadings. And I know how draining and difficult and emotional. You have the whole gamut of emotions in this. And to just turn your back and leave people, not even keep a phone call going. We didn't talk to just people with attorneys. We'd phone in from home. There'd be one person up here at court, and she or he would go put us on the record, and we'd have our talk. And I'd tell people, like, well, could you try doing this? You just brainstorm some ideas, help them out, let them move on. They didn't even accept e-filing for almost 4 weeks. That's what it's e-filing. They're just filing it. I mean, anyway, I don't mean to laugh because it's not funny, but I've been thinking about this since March, Nathan, and I don't have the answer as to why that was a good idea. It wasn't until Call It Christian started putting it out there on WCPO that this changed.
Hey, and a couple of questions. So if you win in November, when will you actually sort of take the office, so to speak?
Well, every other judge will take their term beginning in January, but mine does not begin until July 1st.
July 1st, 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So that means you're going to be hearing a lot of cases that are probably, with situations that are going on right now during a pandemic. That's going to be very interesting to see how the pandemic and all of the stressors, right, that, the pandemic is putting on us now, and how it's going to impact people's relationships and therefore the various cases that come before you.
It really is, Nathan. I mean, we're already seeing it. Somebody said the other day, good marriages got better and bad marriages got worse during the pandemic. So that part is true. But I think the long-term effects, we've had 20 million people on unemployment. People have been furloughed. People are taking pay cuts. People aren't getting bonuses. Moms, the effect on women. There was an article in the New York Times last week about that, because by and large, they're the ones who are staying home more for the kids who aren't physically in school. So there's going to be really long-term effects on the finances of almost all of the families that we serve. And that's going to affect their marriages. And that's going to affect, whether their children can play sports. Can they get braces? I mean, it's going to be with us forever. Well, not forever, I hope. But the effects of the pandemic are not just on the relationships, because that's absolutely true. It's also, as I said, making domestic violence cases, more of them and more severe. But because of the financial impact that the whole country is taking, it's going to affect the parents and the children for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if somebody wants to know, will child support cases come before your court?
Yes, we do all the child support for children of parents who were married.
Okay.
If you weren't married, you're in juvenile court, but yeah.
Now, I've joked before in the past to my male listeners that If you want to know the building downtown where the child support cases are going to be held, all you have to do is go downtown and look up. And it's like a scene from the original Ghostbusters. You see demons and gargoyles and black clouds and all kind of stuff swirling at the top of that building, and some of the faces. There are so many critiques and criticisms, primarily from the Black community and men, in terms of how they are treated in the child support system. Have you heard these issues from your viewpoint? Are there any issues with the child support systems? And if so, what? And, what will you do about it?
So that's the legislature obviously writes the child support law. So the somewhat good news is they finally, the Ohio State Legislature rewrote the child support law and updated it, and it became effective March 29th, 2019, and it had not been updated since the mid-'80s, okay? And part of what it did address is people at the way lower end of the economy who have multiple orders. So if you have children with different parents, you have like one with this woman and one with this woman and one with this woman, you weren't paying what you would have paid if you were paying one woman for 3 children. I hope I'm making sense.
It does.
You were paying much more than that because you had 3 individual orders. So that got fixed. As I said, it got fixed for people who were below poverty level. I think there's a minimum child support order now of $80 a month. A lot of it got updated. So the law is better. And there isn't a ton of room for discretion until you get up to over combined income of $335,000. So it is not one of those issues where it's so dependent on the experience of the magistrate or judge. But the fairness, 100%. And a lot of that is the court doesn't educate the people who are before them. So I try to tell every man or woman I know or who is before me who is paying support that, listen, if you lose your job or you get furloughed or whatever, you have to come to court and file a motion right away because we cannot backdate a change in the amount of support before any date other than the one that you file your motion. So if you lose your job in June, and you look for work, don't do that and then file your motion in September because you're going to still pay that higher order June, July, August, September. If you lose your job and you're not going to get another one, you've got to come and tell us that. And it's calling the Child Support Enforcement Agency doesn't make this happen. You have to file a motion with the court so that can be the date on which you file the motion that I can backdate your lower support order to. That's a critical piece of information. And there's more things like that we need to tell people. We need to put information in their hands. Because who knows that, right?
Right.
That's not, you didn't learn that in junior high. So That's a critical piece of information.
And I've told men, even family members who had children on the way and we're looking at child support orders, that you got to be proactive. You got to be proactive. You have to take control of the situation. You have to make sure they know who you are. You got to be communicating to make sure that you don't get forgotten and railroaded. My question is, so you said there's not much latitude in terms of the judge. So tell me, do you know this or not? Tell me, so what happens if, I'm incarcerated in Hamilton County and I've got a child support order? Does the meter keep running or does that stop and then pick up again when I'm released?
If you're just in there for a short period of time, the meter keeps running. If you're incarcerated for a period of more than 1 year, it's suspended.
Mm-hmm. So that's still a year, though. Now, is that an issue for Ohio legislators to deal with, or is there any latitude with the judges?
I mean, if your sentence is for a year, it doesn't continue for a year. Sorry, I want to be clear about that. Unless you're in prison because you abused or harmed the child that you're paying the support for. There's little tweak there. Yeah, this is all before the legislature, but considering it took them, 40 years, whatever, 35 years to redo child support, and it just got redone. I'm not looking for them to improve it at all. But yeah, there is discretion. I shouldn't say there isn't any. I'm just saying there's less, because there's a worksheet that we use, and you can deviate from the amount that the worksheet spits out at you, but you have to state a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I have a parent who's paying support, but he or she is also paying for half of the select soccer, or if they are driving, they have to come in from out of town for their parenting time, or they're going to contribute to the orthodontia, then yeah, you're going to get a break. Or if you have your children for more than, a couple times a week, then yeah, you're going to get a big break on your child support, as you should. So the purpose of child support is to try to keep us from having one house that's got a lot more advantage than the other house for the child. But I want to back up and address something you said about being proactive. That is so true, and that's for the mother and for the father. The more the person paying child support is involved in the child's life, the more adherent that person is to the child support order. So when it's a child, if the mother or the father cuts the other parent out of the child's life, they're going to have more of a battle for child support, because that just makes sense. Like, if it's not a child that you're allowed to see and you're not welcomed into that child's life, that's going to be a hurt, and it's not going to make you want to get out your checkbook. So if parents could put aside how much they don't like that other parent, and keep in mind how important that parent is in this child's development, that's awesome. If they don't have a big enough heart to do that, then remember that it might help you financially to keep that parent involved and to welcome that parent into your child's life.
Hey, Ann, can you hear me?
I can. I'm going to have to go in a second because I've got a 9 o'clock hearing.
Okay.
Mr. Ivey.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, I will summon things up. I want to give you the last word. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience to talk about why you're best for this particular position, and also anything about your campaign?
So this has been, I never thought I'd run for judge. I thought I was going to retire. But just don't ever tell somebody you'll take a meeting with Tab Puraval to talk about it, because he will talk you into it. Okay. So that's my advice. No, just kidding. This has been so amazing, Nathan, because I have met so many wonderful people like Charmaine McGuffey, who was on your show earlier. I've walked the neighborhoods of so many parts of Cincinnati that I hadn't spent time in before, whether it's Madisonville or Winton Hills or Springfield Township. Just met people who are working in their yards or working on their car, and just gotten to talk to them about why this is an important race. And of course, this is a critical year for all of us, all the way up and down the ballot. But what I would tell people is go to ourjudgesmatter.com, and you can learn about all of us on this wonderful slate. Or you can go to Flottman for Judge. It's Flottman, Flottmanforjudge.com, if you want to learn just about me. These races are critical. There's not a D or an R on the ballot. If you don't like the justice system in Hamilton County and you want to flip it, then flip your ballot and vote all the way down. I'm the last race on the ballot. I think somebody said on the absentee I'm next to the tax levy. I don't like that so much. But you need to learn who these 13 Hamilton County judges are. If you don't like it, it's your voice and your vote, and you can change it.
And thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Most def.
Again, I hope.
Yeah, most def. That's Ann Flottman, everybody. Very interesting. What do you think? I want to get your thoughts at 513-873-7134. There's an interesting comments inside the chop shop from Jerica. I have to address that. And I agree with you, Jerica. We 100% can always agree to disagree, but I want to make sure that I clarify my statements and people know exactly where I'm coming from. That's very, very important to me. I need to slip into a break. A lot of things have happened. We got a call from Charmaine McGuffey talking about a campaign ad that's running on terrestrial black media that's calling her all kinds of things. He kind of called in this morning, not kind of, but she called in this morning to clear things up. And our primary topic, still think Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat? The FBI stopped the plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and start a civil war. And guess what? Black Lives Matter had nothing to do with it. We're live, we're local, and we're vocal. And we'll be right back right after this.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side, or one where black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
The Bloomberg My Business Report, I'm Donna Wilson. Since the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor in March, there have been major protests to help bring an end to racial inequality. But hundreds of major corporations have pledged financial support to organizations and nonprofits to advance the cause. John Hope Bryan, CEO of Operation Hope, says he's encouraged to see corporate America do their part to help build a better society.
And you have these CEOs stepping up saying, knock it off, America. Let's stand up. And they're making commitments. I mean, real money. Some of it's PR, but most of it is real commitments and real money. Stepping up and doing real stuff, because 90% of all jobs come from the private sector and 100% of legitimate wealth comes from the free enterprise system.
Bryan says as corporations step up, it reminds him of the civil rights movement, and it will reap benefits in the end. That's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are we sounding? Can you hear me? I know there was a couple of times when I had my microphone off. I apologize again. Typically, when I have a guest on the line, I'll turn my mic off just because I don't want what I'm saying or what's going on in the background to bleed into the call. Good morning to you. Hopefully, we are looking good and sounding good up on Spreaker this morning. We're on TuneIn this morning. We're everywhere this morning. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. So far, man, we've had some movement. We talked with Charmaine McGuffey. She called in this morning and told us about a campaign ad that's running in terrestrial black radio that she says is false. And even if it's true, I mean, I haven't heard it, but the details of it sound crazy. Then we got a call from a listener named Carmen who said she was in the car the other day and she heard it and she was disgusted by it. And again, from a media standpoint, if you're the media platform, you're taking the dollars as they come in. Good, bad ad, favorable ad, positive ad, negative ad. I mean, you take the money as it comes. Are there, is there a line in the sand? Of course there's a line in the sand, but that line is different for everyone. I haven't heard it, so I couldn't tell you at this point what I would do. As I've told people before, I work with Democrats, Republicans, independents. I've run what people might call negative ads, positive ads. I do have a line in the sand, and I'm here to tell you, and I won't tell you what ad it was and who it was, but I have turned down money, probably about $2,200, which is not a whole lot of money, but it is nice little 2 stacks in sum total, since I've been doing this online, because I felt like, what they were selling doesn't match what I'm all about. And that wasn't just a political ad. That was, it was a political ad and then an ad for an event and 2 ads for events. And I just like, we ain't doing that. We good, homie. But again, every platform has to make that decision. I asked her if the particular hosts were offering any commentary to sort of like, I don't know, explain it. And she told me she didn't hear it. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but it is what it is. Then Jerica's in the chop shop. She said some interesting things. She said, OMG, let's not ish on other black hosts. And, like I said, I don't feel like that's what I said this morning. That might be how you perceived it. I think I was, because I know how I feel about it. And it ain't no secret. I've been 100% telling you how I felt about, black media in the city of Cincinnati. And I stand by that. Ish. Let me think. I don't think so, because I don't really necessarily feel that way. No, when I told you that when you work for other people, that means you're working for other people, and that even in black radio at that station, that management will come in and tell you what to say and what not to say, that has happened to me. Those are facts. So I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm telling you what the reality is. That's not ishing on nobody. Let's see here. And I understand you might have feelings, and that's great, but your feelings don't trump my truth and my experience. I'm going to keep it real with you at all times. So I don't remember. Tell me how I ished on somebody, Jerica. I don't remember that. Or maybe I said something, I just don't recall it, but I don't really remember because I don't really feel that way. Like I said before, I said again, I got a lot of friends wherever I've worked, even at the former corporate-owned radio station that I used to work for. So I don't really feel that way about anybody in particular. I just call it for what it is. I keep it 100. And as I told you, there's a difference between, new black independent media and corporate-owned media, whether it's owned by black folks or not. And there's nobody in the city who knows more about that than me. Not you, me. I'm telling you what I know, what I sang, what I saw, what I felt, what I heard. Or you can ask Jerry Tolliver. I mean, I'm just giving you facts. It might be uncomfortable, but, like I said, your comfort doesn't trump my truth. I'm always going to keep it 100 with you. And those are the facts. That's not issue on anybody. That's just a lay of the landscape and the opportunity, quite honestly, that's provided, by digital media and the new digital landscape, which I 100% love. I love it. But I don't have any sour grapes or any bad feelings. I just keep it real. You know what I'm saying? 100%. I had a great time and life is good. Trust me on that. And looking better every single day. But we can't run from the truth. You know what I'm saying? We can't run from the truth from people who are qualified enough to tell you the truth. Like me. You know what I'm saying? We can't run from that. And, if it comes across in some kind of way, then so be it. It is what it is. But, it is what it is. Brother Mazzone writes, Bruce is a straight up buster. He wants to say he's not a politician, but he acts like a politician. And for the Republican Party, they're desperate right now. I'm not surprised to hear about this ad campaign because they're desperate. They know that Trump is he is the wrong person to have at the top of the ticket this year. In my opinion, he's actually hurting everybody down the ballot, even in locales like Hamilton County and Cincinnati as well. And they know it. The Republican Party is looking at the poll numbers and they're saying, let's go negative because negative ads help. Like, I haven't heard the ad. We talked to Charmaine, but as much BS as that ad is, if in fact it went down the way she said it did, it's going to have an impact on somebody out there. It might be 1 vote or 10 votes or 100 votes, but you got a lot of low information voters out there. You got people out there that are just looking for a reason to not rock with you. In the real world, in politics, in radio, in whatever you do, you got people out there that on the low got a problem with you. And all they need is a little bit of something to run with it. And they'll run with it. I would have more respect for Bruce Hoffbauer and any candidate if they spoke more about the virtues of their campaign and their abilities and their experience and less about, trying to tear somebody down. That's just me personally. But in the game of media and politics, all is love, all is fair in love, war, and cash and checks. It's all fair. And if it's facts, it's facts. Now, if it's made up and there's some lies or some old misdirection stuff, that's a little different. But I mean, come on, man, that's politics. You know what I'm saying? If you're a candidate for Charmaine McGuffey or anybody else, I mean, come on, they're people with thick skin. They know what it is. Bruce will do whatever he can do. The local Republican Party will do whatever they can do to try to get him in office. Period. That's their job. I get it. You know what I'm saying? If Andy Black has to, rubber stamp a subtly racist campaign flyer against Alicia Reese, then that's what he's going to do. And it's up to the candidate, the campaigns, the parties, the people to educate themselves against the miseducation. That's just how it goes. All is fair in love, war, and cash and checks. That's what you know how this world works. You expect Bruce Hoffbauer killed an unarmed man 20 years ago and then ran from it for weeks and weeks and weeks until he couldn't anymore. And then when he finally talked about it, he said it was, death by suicide by cop. So if a man will do that, what makes you think he won't do whatever it takes to become the next Hamilton County sheriff? What makes you think he's going to stop now? Of course he will. He'll do whatever it takes. And that's just how the game goes. But let me see here. You see, Tony Rice agreed with Jerica. Okay, I ain't got no problem with it. But you got to understand, between all of us, I've got all the experience. I was there. I know what I'm talking about. And when I'm spitting hot facts, period. You can have your opinion, but I have the facts telling you, period. That's not negative because, again, I'm glad we got multiple media channels here in the city. I grew up in Cincinnati. I love the fact that we got multiple options. I love it. Nothing makes me, well, there are some things that make me happier. But in terms of a black man living in Cincinnati and understanding the overall media landscape, I love the fact that there are multiple ways for you to interact with black voices. Love it. But it don't change what I'm saying, Jerica. It's not going to change my tune one bit. Let me see. Ray writes, and Nathan, correct, reminds me of black council members with a cricket mouth when it comes to others denigrating black people. Yes, I said it. Yeah, I remember that you had, he's gone now, but you had a high-ranking white male police officer, Newdigate, I think it was, that went to the Law and Public Safety Committee and said some dumb-ish about super predators. You got black elected officials down there that, what I was told, I didn't hear it myself, but I was told from a very good source that they ain't say nothing. You ain't gonna check this man? You're not gonna check him at all? So that's what we doing right now? Okay. Jerica writes, just because someone isn't doing what you're doing doesn't mean that they are wrong or you are right. It's one's individual decision. I don't know what you mean by that. Tracy writes, all I say is Jerica is all money and ain't good money. That's what I hate about they will take $1 from anybody, neutral face. But that's why they're set up. Again, from a media standpoint, it's about where the dollars come in. Not to say that they would take every dollar. I don't know. I don't make those decisions for them over there. I'm sure they've turned down money before. Just makes sense. But I'm just telling you, Democrat, Republican, black, white, when the dollars roll in during election season and the checks start clearing, that's all that really matters. That's all that really matters. And if management goes to the host and says, keep your mouth closed, then they're going to keep their mouth closed. Period. That's what's going to happen. And don't think that because it's a black station that it won't happen there. I was there and it happened firsthand. So if it happened when I was there, it's going to happen when I'm not there. But that's what happens. That would happen at a white talk radio station. That's what happens when you don't own it. And that goes for anything you go for. You could work at McDonald's. When a manager says whoop dop doobity doo, then that's what the hell you're going to do, or you're going to leave, period. Period. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, that ain't good, bad, or whatever. That's the reality of it. Now, some people don't want to live under those kind of rules, so they start their own thing. And you're looking at one of those people. So, of course, my situation is a little bit different, but that's just the way it goes. Let me see. Somebody said something about respect. Respect. It's not about truth. It's not about running from the truth. It's about respect. Respect for who? Respect. You should go tell Jerry Tyler about respect. Go ask her about respect. Respect. Hilarious. Respect. That is funny. I could get deeper, but no need to. It's all good. It's a Friday. Okay, yeah. I want to share something with you real quick. Yeah, because we were a little late on the break with the conversation with Charmaine and Ann. I appreciate Ann's time. Hey, Brian, thanks for becoming a patron this morning. I appreciate it. I'll say it again, and I mean this, all puns and implications implied. Sin Digital Media will never turn to music during an election year. We're not going to switch the format. No white males or females are going to come in and tell us what to do and how we do it to serve our community. It ain't going to never happen. I'd rather just stop doing it. You could take that to the bank. That's one huge difference. Now, if that don't mean anything to you, so be it. It means something to me. Now, that's respect. When you respect your audience and you deliver to them what you promised what you were going to do. That is respect, Jerica. It's respect. The hell is going on in this world? Okay, we got to go to John. We got John on the line. I got to go straight to my man John in Florida. He's been so patient. Hey, John, welcome to the show.
Guys, good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey.
Hey, John, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go, buddy. Sorry about that, black man. Morning. Thank you for being here. What's going on?
Okay, how are you today?
I'm good, man, but you sound extremely, extremely low.
Okay. How's that? Can you hear me now?
John, it's night and day, man. Can you do whatever you're doing right now every time you call in moving forward, please? That would be so helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your flows were very good, and that was a good interview you had with, I think she's running for a judge position there.
Yeah, domestic relations judge, Ann Flotman.
Yeah, an interesting woman. I'll let you into it. And the questions that you proposed to her were right on the money. Before we get to this madness in Michigan, but we should not be surprised. Before we get to that, I'm glad you were being upfront and honest how radio operates. And I notice I've tracked a lot of these radio stations across the country. Once it gets close to a major election, they like to change their format, as you indicate, music, or change the host. Or if the host tends to step out of the boundaries, out of the line, they want to do their own thing. They're always brought into the manager's office to cut it out, or else you're out the door. As you were talking, I flashed back at the sister I forgot on ESPN, her in a talk show format, and she stepped out of the boundaries. And this ESPN did not like her, so they threatened her, and she wasn't buckling down. So they snatched off the airway. I believe they snatched off the airways for a number of weeks. Then they brought it back. I don't know. Is she still there, or is she gone out of ESPN? Or I think she has another.
You mean Jemele Hill?
ESPN. Yeah, I think.
Oh, Jemele Hill's been gone. She's doing some stuff now with well, she's doing a couple things. She's got a new podcast with Carrie Champion, a black female that was also used to be at ESPN. They're doing a new podcast called something. I can't recall it, but it's out of Vice TV.
Yes. I think I heard something like that. Yeah. And, I enjoyed listening to her whenever I was flicking the channels and catching ESPN. And she was very direct and upfront about issues dealing with sports. But it shows you how the system is, and they have sponsors. I understand the format with radio and TV, sponsors that pay for preaching the music, and you go out of those boundaries, then they want to pull you in before the day is over with, and she wasn't having it. So, how do we put that? Don't dance with the devil that pays the bills, because you have to make a decision. Either play the game or it's time to move on. And I think you saw that coming down the road. It was time to move on. And that's what happened with Mr. Nathan Ivey. And I think you made the right decision, rather sell yourself to the devil. You control your own format. That's the only way. They can't stop you. They can't control you. They can't tell you what to say. What sponsors that do come on your airways are sponsors that understand this is Mr. Nathan Ivey's format. Now, if you have a problem with that, say it now so we can cut this meeting short. You can move on and I can move on. And as you also stated, several companies approached you and you probably could have made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But you saw down the road with whoever those people that approached you that you weren't going to probably have the control that you wanted. So you made that decision. Now, for now, I'll stay the way it is. I think I said this to you once when me and you sat down when I was in Cincinnati. I think you consider TV, But the problem with TV is you have to sit down before you accept that contract. That this is your format, this is your show, and you have to be allowed to say what you want to say. As long as there's no curse words or anything stepping over the boundary, fine. But those sponsors, they cannot be able to control you and tell you how to do your commentary, be it politics or whatever the format is on what you're doing. So I think at some point, if they're still interested, they will approach you. It's similar to these rappers, these kids that sell their CDs and their music. Once they make enough of money and they see the viewership is all about ratings, once those ratings go up, they want a piece of your pie. So that's something you have to consider if that opportunity is in front of you. Okay, let's get to it. What kind of madness? Well, let's put it this way. We should not be surprised about what we saw in Michigan. This is nothing new. These characters are across the country. I'm glad they infiltrated these two different organizations, similar to as I was watching all this stuff play out in the news last night. Reminds me of the Black Panthers in the 60s, how they got to the Black Panthers. And the Black Panthers initially wasn't doing anything wrong. They was just saying, enough of the police coming into our communities. Stay out. We'll protect our own communities. We'll feed our own people. And the system under this government did not want black men with guns parading across Oakland, California, and various cities. So eventually they infiltrated the organization and arrested the leaders and shut them down. But these characters in Michigan, they've been operating for a long time. And I remember the clips, and they showed it on the news. This governor allowed these characters to come into the State House with their assault rifles and guns outside the building and inside. And I remember seeing that picture a month ago. And I noticed among them were police officers, state police. They said nothing. Now, when you allow that to happen, you lost control of your state. And that pushed them to another area. Well, we know they got their marching orders from the idiot in the White House. And regardless if he gets it or not, he's going to push it to another level. And he will push it to another level. So we should not be surprised what we saw if the feds didn't step in fast enough. That there's a possibility she may not be breathing today. And the people around her may not be breathing. And if you think this is just one fold incident, how many more of these radical white militant groups across the country, like the federal government and various organizations, NAACP, Jewish organizations, they monitor these groups. They're already been infiltrated. As soon as they step over their line, or as soon as they're ready to do the dirty deed, then the federal government steps in. They don't wait. They step in when they think they're ready to make the move. So, but this is nothing new. This is a part of the American system. It's always been that way. And I wonder how many more of these radical groups that are out there that we don't know about. And some people even think they've been infiltrated within the federal government all the way up to, all the way up to the White House. Your comments, sir?
No comments, man. I appreciate your flows. I think that's a great question. And I hope that the FBI is surveilling these white terror organizations, these backwater bubble militia groups. And if they pose a threat, I hope they do the same thing we saw with this plot that was up in Michigan concerning Gretchen Whitmer. That's what I think. But John, thanks for the flow, man.
Well, let me just end with this. As the FBI was laying out their case, I mean, they had a plan in action, what they were going to do. They go, as I'm listening to feds, remind me of the John Brown. I think it's a movie I don't know if it's Showtime focusing on John Brown. It reminds me of the John Brown story, what he was going to do in the 1800s just before slavery ends. He was going to end it himself, but he was going to end it in a different way where he wanted to get control of that militia, the arms. It reminds me of incidents like that, but these characters are out there and they're ready to move forward at the beat of the drum. And regardless, as I stated, if this rat in the White House is reelected or not, he's going to still move to another level. That's or they get their orders, wink, wink, dot, dot, code words from him. And if he's not elected, he's still going to take it to another level. So we have to be weary. We have to be careful. And Black people, you better start arming yourselves. If you haven't started doing that, then better be careful, because if something breaks out across this country, those gun shops are shut down. You won't be able to get to that stuff. So if I'm in Florida.
Hey, John, I got to make a move, man.
So be careful, be wary. The beat will just go on. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. That's John. Appreciate John in Florida. Want to give him as much time to get his flows out, but I've got some other folks on the line. I want to move on. 513-873-7134. It's 9:25. And just want to give you a heads up. Later on today, you got the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B. She'll be talking about numerous things, including, did a white judge in Cincinnati say that systematic racism doesn't exist? Check out the Is It Just Me podcast today at 12:30 p.m. with Donnie B. And she'll be breaking it down. She'll also have Carrie Bloom on today, who's running for judge as well. And of course, Donnie B is a Black female lawyer practicing many years here in the city of Cincinnati. And so she's got a unique perspective to ask the questions of these particular judicial candidates. She'll also be giving her observations on, some of the biggest news issues from the week from a Black female perspective. You can watch it live on Send Digital Media or right here on Facebook. That's coming up later today. Also, I need your help, family. This is the podcast art for a brand new podcast. We are looking for an opinionated female to host a new relationship pod. And to say relationship pod doesn't really fully give it justice. It's much more than that, but of course it does deal with relationships, dating, mating, love, and relationships. And so we'll be asking folks who are interested to make a video no more than 3 minutes long. And then we're going to post these videos on our Facebook page on Send Digital Media. And we'll allow the audience to judge and have a say in who becomes the host of a brand new pod. I'm very excited about it. It's something completely different, something completely new. It's a partnership between Send Digital Media and Shanghai Imaging. And together we are working on this podcast, looking forward to it. And I think it'll be something that'll be very interesting and fun. And, maybe we can help some folks out there as well. So again, you'll see this later today. I'll be posting it. Hopefully when you see it, you can share it. And we're asking people just to DM a video to the Send Digital Media page. We'll take a look at it on our end and then decide who takes the next step. And then we'll post them up on CDM's page and allow you, the public, to have a say in who could become the next host of what we think is going to be an exciting new podcast. This podcast is based in the greater Cincinnati area. And to this point, we don't have a working title. We're working with several titles, but we wanted to move forward and hopefully generate some excitement, and more in particular, find the next great female podcast host. And you might have seen me share something about a month ago, sort of teasing it. Well, the time is now. And why wait? We're looking forward to it. And it should be a lot of fun. Something different than the podcast that we're doing right now. This is a 100% just new creative podcast from the ground up that we're building together right now. And really excited about it. Looking forward to it. Again, our mission is to amplify Black. Simple as that. 100%. I keep telling people I am 100% focused on this mission. And if you like to be a part of it, well, you really already are. I really appreciate you. But if you want to be more intimately involved, then you can go to Patreon/Nathan Ivey Show and join the mission. Become a monthly patron for as little as $2 a month. And you get all kind of insights and rewards. Again, my patrons saw that and got a bit more detail about it last night. And Much more to follow. Much more to follow. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Let's go straight to the phones and say good morning and welcome to the show. Good morning. Okay, call me back, and we'll pick it back up then. Again, 513-873-7134 if you like to share your thoughts. And of course, don't forget the Dope Chicks Collective will be back this Sunday at 1 p.m. Danny and the crew. That's at 1 p.m. for the Dope Chicks Collective. And you can live stream it, or you can watch the live stream right here on Facebook, Sin Digital Media, for those of the folks who are on Facebook. I appreciate you. Please like and share this Facebook page. We are just getting started. You know, Ann Flotman says something that I think it rings true. She said, COVID-19, it's kind of exposed some things. So it's made good marriages better, stronger, and bad marriages have been destroyed. And I say the same thing about businesses on some level. Unless you're the kind of business that really, really like you need people in that space, that's different. But to me, COVID-19 is a stress test. It's a stress test on all levels of your life. And you're either going to get stronger or you're not. It's just simple as that. You're either going to leave COVID-19 in better shape or you're not. Depending on the nature of your business, it's either going to leave COVID-19 in better shape or it's not. In terms of your personal relationships, they're either going to get stronger or they're not. And I think a lot of that, again, there are other factors, of course, but I think a lot of that depends on you. Again, winners focus on winning. Stay focused on winning, family. All my entrepreneurs out there, all the creators, stay focused on winning, right? Stay focused on winning, and you will finish. No doubt about it. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hey, good morning and welcome to the show.
Hello, this is Marcus. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, Marcus?
Hey, I was just
it's been a minute.
Flow on.
It's been a minute, man. How you doing?
Oh, just chilling, brother. I've been listening to you. Just trying to figure out where you're going from, from day to day.
Okay. Good to hear your voice, man.
But yeah, it's always a pleasure listening to you, brother. And in fact, you've been on the podcast. You appear to be much better, brother. I guess those stringent corporate, barriers you had there will really, keep you down a little bit. But in terms
people
of
have said that to me before. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, but in terms of what you said, I mean, we lost control of black radio when black businesses were destroyed. I mean, back in the day, most people don't understand. That's why, I was a co-founder of the African American Chamber of Commerce, and that's why it was founded, because all of a sudden we realized that, we were under attack and, the businesses were going out of style. I mean, I've tried to convey to people how we would go from one end of Cincinnati to the other, just club hopping, because every club had a big black business district. And then all of a sudden, right before, Joe Biden's 1994 Injustice Act, all of them were wiped out. I mean, all black businesses were wiped out. We had a magazine where it was just full of black businesses. And so, and it was just tremendous, but we financed black radio, and they saw that was a problem, and they wiped out black businesses in Cincinnati and across, and to me, it's like a Black Wall Street, but they did an iteration nationwide, so that basically all black radio owned by black people were wiped out. So that's why this corporate thing came about. In fact, we petitioned, some people say we wrote letters to the FCC saying that they shouldn't be able to say they were black owned no more, because they weren't black owned. Their stocks were owned by other people, but for a long time, stations here and elsewhere were saying they were black owned.
Okay.
You hear me?
I do hear you,
but that's,
I said, I do hear you.
Okay, so that's why, you know what, I was just trying to say that so people understand why it's that way. You know, that it's not black owned radio anymore. They may, you know, have a message for you in the black community, but it's not owned anymore. And in terms of the Black Lives Matter, brother, they were never a real threat to anybody else but the black community. They didn't come online until the people in Ferguson threw Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton out of there. And then the next thing you know, Black Lives Matter received $100 million, and they got them down in there with crazy messages about different things. And, you know, they used them until they needed them, and then they came out with the crazy message that they just wouldn't say all lives matter. They were fighting and saying that we just want to deal with black lives. And that's what's going to happen with the situation down in Louisville, brother. They're getting ready, and there's no reason for that to be down there. You had the best case in the world up in Missouri where they stood on that man's neck. No one should have moved. It should have been right there. That should have been in focus. But all of a sudden, you got movie stars down in Louisville here, you know, with shirts on and everything else, saying that her case is the one we should be looking at. And that's basically the same thing that happened here in Cincinnati. I had a neighbor who was choked out, military hero, great young man, choked out, killed by the police. The station that you work for wouldn't even talk about him. They just stayed on Timothy Thomas because Timothy Thomas was basically a criminal. He was a black man. He should not have been killed, but he was a criminal. And when they have those situations like that, it's easy to dump it when they're through with us. You see what I'm saying? Because once he was, once they decided that the Timothy Thomas thing was over with, they wouldn't even take any more calls on boycotting Cincinnati or anything else. And because it was something where there were clauses there that weren't quite right, they were able to dump it. Whereby if you have a pure case like my neighbor, who was a war hero, they can't dump those. They can't dump the brother up in Missouri with somebody stumping, putting his knee on his neck. You feel me?
I feel you on that part. Now the Timothy Thomas part, I don't know not so much about that one. About he was a straight up criminal. I don't know about that one. I'm
just saying. No. He had a record. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, he had a record. There's no past tense. It's a lot of people with records. It's people in the Trump administration got records right now, but we don't look at them as criminals. I think he might have been criminalized, but which is a little bit different.
Right. But what I'm saying, brother, there were issues there. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's when you got a clean case where, they know they can't control it, they stay away from that. They go with the case where there are, various things there that are not quite right. That, like the guy shot at the police and the police shot back and, they had a no-knock warrant, but they did knock and they did not, the confusion there, the subterfuge, but there is no confusion when you standing on a man's neck out in the street and he telling you he can't breathe.
True.
There's no confusion with my neighbor when he came out of a convenience store and the police, hiding behind the door and pops out and chokes him to death. There's no, and it's on film, but the media, since we didn't own it anymore, they go with the bad cases. So I'm just telling y'all, if in a few weeks, especially right after the election, they're going to dump that Louisville thing and you're not going to hear about the Ferguson thing anymore. So those are the real things you need to pay attention to, and you'll realize what's going on in the black community, and you'll really embrace these podcasts. You will really embrace them, brother. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Marcus.
all I want.
Appreciate the flows. Appreciate it. That's Marcus. I didn't know he was still listening. Appreciate the flows. He's a well-known listener, or well-known caller, should I say, in certain circles here in Cincinnati. Appreciate it. Oh, I 100% love it. I'll say it again. I wish I had did it earlier. If I knew it was going to be like this, I'd have left earlier on my own. I'm out the door. You know what I'm saying? But I'm one of those kind of guys, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I tell you, sometimes people, they mean well, and they will project what they want onto you, even though they don't know what you really want. I used to say it all the time back when I was in corporate radio. I ain't trying to take over for Lincoln Ware. That was never my motivation. I never thought about that. I was thinking somewhere else. That was other people's motivations for me, all well-intentioned now. I mean, these are great people, I think, very friendly and think fondly. That's what they had in mind. I had something else in mind. Trust me on that one. 100%. If you only knew. If you only knew. It is hilarious. Let me see. Again, I showed that to you. Yeah, this is the podcast art right here. You're going to see this. Send Digital Media, Shanghai Imaging are working together to build a brand new podcast. And it's a relationship/dating podcast. It's completely different than anything that's out there right now. I'm not aware of it. And it'll be a Greater Cincinnati-based thing. It's an opportunity for someone who wants to get into podcasting. And we're looking for someone who's opinionated in a sense. They got to be able to hold their own. And we're looking for somebody that, some other criteria as well. And what we're asking is for people to send their videos, to send Digital Media. You can just DM us. We're going to download it, take a look at it. Those that make the first cut, we're going to upload back onto CDM's Facebook page. And then we're going to ask the public to weigh in to tell us, who they like and what they think. Hopefully we can have some fun with it as we build this new podcast together. And we're looking forward to it. This is a brand new podcast. This is not an existing podcast. This is a brand new opportunity for someone out there. It'll be live streamed on CDM, so you can watch it live on social media. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's very ambitious. I'll tell you that much. It's a very ambitious project. I haven't done anything like this before. It's very ambitious, but I like that. That's what time it is. It's COVID-19. If you're not stepping outside your boundaries and doing something new, what's the point of living, homie? So looking forward to that. When you see that promo out, please like and share it. If you know someone who you think might fit the description of what we're looking for, please let them know. It's real simple. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Thank you. Outstanding show. I was listening to your YouTube feed and I was on Twitter triggering folks. But
your favorite thing to do.
Great calls. But John's call was the one that made me want to call in because he was talking about how these subversive groups, white militias, black militants, Nazis, Antifa, all these organizations never seem to really blow up after an election year because the Black Panthers were born after the riots and the Black Democrats who were just starting to see power after the Civil Rights Act was signed by mostly Republicans and Martin Luther King, a Republican. They got that bill signed by Lyndon Johnson, and the Black Republicans started to move in. And I mean, not Black Republicans, Black Democrats started to move in to these inner cities and win elections. And a lot of these militant groups do stem from political seasons, election years. Okay, so, I mean, we can go back through history and we could check it, but we got to give a shout out to Donald Trump's FBI, Donald Trump's Attorney General, Mr. Barr, for their outstanding work in Michigan by infiltrating these groups and making arrests and holding these crazy folks accountable for their craziness. Now, again, Mr. Ivey, there is a reason this country has only had one civil war. Yes, there has been a lot of political unrest, race riots. A lot of people lost their lives trying to defend the civil rights of American citizens across this country. That is America. That is who we are. Okay, so when people say, oh, that's not who we are. Yes, it is. We are America, but we are made up of a lot of good people, way more good people than bad people. And that's why these type of groups do not explode to the point to where one crazy leader can influence a lot of these dumb folks. Because you said it yourself. When you showed those pictures, those mug shots, those the Wolverine militia, you know, shout out to my home state, Michigan, and the Wolverines. It shows you, Mr. Ivey, how one or two very, very highly intelligent individuals who wish ill will upon other people can get a bunch of stupid people to follow them and carry out what they want to do. So again, Mr. Ivey, this is America. There are some effed up people in this country, but it's a way, way lot more good people in this country that will not allow these type of groups to really take hold and cause what some people say a civil war. But we got to remember, Mr. Ivey, it's politics. Politics is not about the truth. It's about what you can get people to believe. So I'm looking forward to hearing another video from the great leader, Grandmaster Jay of the NFAC, also known as the Not Effing Around Coalition. I'm waiting for them to go post up and get in the face of some of these white militias. Where you at, Grandmaster Jay? That's all I got, Mr. Ivey. Anything, sir? Because I don't want to talk about no politics. Because it's just disgusting out there. What's going on?
Well, so you know, I got the image from your Twitter profile up on the screen right now.
Oh, Mr. Ivey, I didn't even see it.
Oh, yeah, you big me up, I big you up, man. You big me up, I big you up. You're on Twitter, it's Rock Squad 52. People can find you there.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
It's hard. It's hard holding on to a certain position and not being swayed from it. You know, stand tall, never surrender. You know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's what you're doing, Mr. Ivey. Send Digital, I'm following you, sir. You are on a path. And, hey, you keep doing what you're doing, sir.
Oh, we will.
Because, like you said, it's a lot of people that don't know how to tap into those internal numbers. And I just got a little taste with Twitter analytics. And I'm sure you know about Twitter analytics, right, Mr. Ivey? Yeah, so you keep doing what you're doing, sir. I'm going to let somebody else get on this phone because I already triggered one fool on Twitter. Where you at, Mr. Cleo? It's Drop Squad 52, dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace.
Don't let Drop trigger you because he loves it. He loves triggering people. That he gets up every morning, calls into the show to trigger folks. Don't let him do it. Jerker writes, I completely agree with you. You guys are saying my position is more about respect. Yes, respect. For instance, I have never heard Lincoln speak negatively or throw shade at this show. He actually made supportive comments about Nathan. Oh, yeah, me and Lincoln are tight. I got a lot of respect for Lincoln. Yeah, most definitely. You know, like I said, I've said it many times before. I mean, I had a lot of close people that I'm still cool with, made a lot of friends. Yeah. I stand by everything I said, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it is what it is. You know, Link's a good guy. And I'm glad he's on the air. I hope he remains on the air. I've said that to him personally, publicly. I've said it publicly, and I've said it to him privately. I'm glad that when the buzz went back to talk, I was happy for the people. So you got, multiple options out here. Now, I stand by everything I said. I'm going to tell my truth. I mean, two things can be true at the same time, right? They don't have to be negative about any particular personalities. I mean, life is good over here, so I don't feel that way at all. But, I'm always going to speak my truth, whether it's uncomfortable or people don't like it or don't like me for it. I mean, I got a beautiful black woman upstairs that loves me. So kids that respect their daddy. And I get a chance to do what I love to do from my home every day. So life is good. Trust me on that. And getting better every day. And I'm 100% focused on our mission with laser-like focus to amplify Black voices in this city. Why can't we have more than one? You know what I'm saying? You know, space in the city where, you know, Black Cincinnati can have unfiltered conversations. Again, this is the home of the most unfiltered Black voices in Cincinnati, period. That's facts on facts on facts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'll say it again. No white man or white female is going to walk in the door and fire me or tell anybody on this network what to do. It's not going to happen. We're not going to switch the format in the 11th hour right before an election, back and forth, and take our audience for granted. We're never going to do that. Now, if that rubs some people the wrong way, then so be it. So be it. It is what it is. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you what happened. I didn't make it happen. I'm just saying. It is what it is. We can't get so caught up. What did Malcolm X said? We can't get too comfortable with this friendship ish that we can't call it out for what it is and be real about it. Now, of course, Malcolm X was talking about U.S. foreign policy and also domestic relations policy, but I think that it transfers to what I'm saying here now. Appreciate it. Hey, big up to Fame for bigging up the show on Twitter. Big up to all the Ray Dog, Queen of Cyber Wakanda, Ray, Glenn, Sister Iris, all the good people, you know, just bigging up the show on Twitter, all the people inside the Chop Shop, Crystal, both Crystal, C. Smith, my man Jesse, Omar. Damn, I'm gonna get myself in trouble when you start naming names because somebody's like, what about me, Nate? And I don't mean no disrespect. I shouldn't do this until I have the whole list in front of me. I realize it. And up to all my patrons, I appreciate you. We are just getting started. We are just getting started. Wait until you see what we do next. The next move is the best move. Trust me when I tell you that. Let me see. Oh, yeah, we can always agree, disagree, Jerica. Always. But you know me, I'm going to speak my mind. You know that. Derek writes, hello, good people of the Chop Shop. Hey, good morning to you. Tracy writes, $80 a month. Not sure what that means. Mason Mahler writes, grown folks don't make excuses, do or do not. Common sense matters, right? Mike Jones writes, condoms are a must. They are. They are. Let me see. Was she ever a child support magistrate? Good question. I missed that. I wish we could keep the courts out of our families, Jerica. Me too, you know, but the courts are there when families have disagreements that they just can't agree upon. As it relates to that child support thing and having babies, what I tell men is you do two things. You should either get a vasectomy if you don't want to have children, and or you strap it up. There's nothing stopping a man from having a vasectomy. I have had one. Everything works the same. Nothing works any differently. Everything. Once you get a recovery process, you're going to feel the exact same way. But I get it. You know, it's a mental thing. I had to go through it myself. Like, wait a minute. These are my testicles. I don't want you touching these. Right? I get it. But, you know, you have to make a decision about, you know, who you are, your abilities, what you want out of life, and be a big boy about it. You know what I'm saying? Be a man about it. You know what I'm saying? Period. If you don't want to have children, or you're dating with a lady and you don't think that she's, you know, worthy of being the mother of your child, then don't have sex with her. Or get a vasectomy, freeze your sperm, and then you can decide who becomes the father of your child. You have 100% control over it. You know, provided that you don't have any issues with the vasectomy and things like that, because life happens. Life happens. Things do happen. But if your procedure goes well and everything is plugged up, so to speak, then you can freeze your sperm, and then you make the decision as to who gets your sperm and who's going to be the father, the mother of your child. But these irresponsible men out here want to slang. They want to slang. You think there's no consequences. And then when a woman come up pregnant, you want to try to force her to get an abortion. And when she don't, you want to take it out on her and the kid. That's weakness. That's weakness. Period. You had all the control. You gave it up. Keep the control. As simple as that. I don't have no tears for you. I get it. As a man, I understand it. But no. You You got to deal with the consequences of your own actions, homie. That's just how the world works. That's just how it works. No doubt about it. But yeah, you can find Drop at Drop Squad 52. And again, people got their Twitter handles. You want to call in and put your Twitter handle out there? Feel free, man. All the choppers, all the team and I, go right ahead. You know what I'm saying? Go right ahead so people know where you are. Or let me know, and I'll put it up on the screen so we can support you in your movement and what you're doing. 100%. I'm 100% about that. If you missed it, according to a sworn FBI affidavit, an undercover law enforcement officer, or source, I'll put it that way, attended a meeting back in June of 2020 in Dublin, Ohio, where a group of Michigan-based militia members discussed overthrowing state governments, quote unquote, that they believe were violating the U.S. Constitution. The Fox News crowd, right? Several members talked about murdering tyrants and abducting a sitting governor. That would be the governor of Michigan. Apparently, the men met in some basement, right? In one of their meetings, one of these militia members had like some old, adult-sized treehouse or something like that, where they had a trap door that was under a rug. I bet you think dude is all ready for, the apocalypse, right? Everybody had to turn their phones in. The phones were placed in another room to avoid secret recordings. And they let an undercover FBI source who was wearing a separate recording device into the room. They got infiltrated. Apparently, they were going to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, white female Democrat, governor of Michigan, and hold her on trial for treason. Now, why? Because of the mask mandate. You can't make this up. Over a mask mandate. Now, really, the mask mandate was just a rationale that they all convinced themselves that was so serious to do it for. But the reality is, in my opinion, they were going to do this no matter what. They were going to do this no matter. It wouldn't have mattered whether it was an ice cream cone mandate. They just wanted to do something. Like, what's the use of playing with guns in the hills on the weekend, Jeb, if we can't really kidnap somebody, right? Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, Brandon Kaser, Ty Garbin. Mr. Garbin was arrested in his trailer park by FBI authorities. 7 others faced terrorism and gang-related offenses in state court in connection with the alleged abduction plot. The group was trying to gather about 200 armed men to storm the Capitol building, take hostages, including the governor, and they were hoping to enact their plan before the presidential election, family. That's in less than what? Let me look at the time frame. What is that, a month from now? So in the next 4 weeks, they were hoping to pull this off. If that failed, their backup plan, get this, family, was to attack the governor at her home. There was conversation of just knocking on the door. Hey, are you Governor Whitmer? Yes, I grab her. Put her in the back of a truck or somehow get her into a vehicle, abduct her, and then hold her for trial for treason against the U.S. Constitution because of a mask mandate. I will say this again, and hopefully it's sinking in. We are the real threat. And by we, I mean human beings. Human beings are far more of a threat than COVID could ever be. COVID-19 is just exposing all these weak points that we have and these fractions and differences between us. That show, The Walking Dead, is just great commentary. It is spot on commentary. The real monsters are the humans, not the zombies. Not the disease. It's us. It's the humans. Let's go back to the phone, shall we? Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan, it's Tracy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Tracy. Welcome.
The problem that I have with this story about the governor is only some stations are using the word terrorists. They're still painting these white boys as little militia groups. You know, you don't hear the word domestic terrorism. You know, if it's, you know, the Indian looking brown skin folks, like they just captured two and brought them back to America for killing some American journalists, you know, they're terrorists. But these white boys just get a different label, you know, a nicer label, where they're just called militia groups, like they're just some little gang that band together because they're having a temper tantrum, and, you know, they're getting their guns and their little toys. You know, we need to really call it what it is, you know, because they're really just trying to paint America like we have a little bit of a white boy problem. They're just little groups. They, you know, they really ain't gonna do nothing. But you have this clown sitting in the White House fanning the flames, and it's bigger than what we see, and they really need to call it out for what it is.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So
I'm with you. You're
that's
right.
my
I haven't
issue
been
with it.
monitoring the media like that, so thank you for that insight, but it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, it's a different standard for these white folks, and we need to really call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I have this morning.
Yeah, that's all I need. Thank you, Tracy. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Yep, most def. Yeah, they want to soft pedal it. They want to soften the blow and make it seem like it's lesser. Meanwhile, we don't even know what Antifa is. If somebody shows up with an Antifa T-shirt, Fox News, and some of these, primarily is Fox News, which has a huge network and reach via cable, and also now digital media, they'll try to make it seem like this person is about to commit the kind of crime that these white dudes were arrested for. It's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. It really is. So that's the reason why I went with this cover. You know, because this is the face of the real threat in America right now. This is what the real threat looks like. It's not Black Lives Matter, which is basically black folks looking for equity, policy, intangibles and wanting to paint murals on the ground. It's men like this who are so caught up in their white maleism and their xenophobia and their hate. And a lot of this, I bet you, is fear. Because fear will motivate a man to do a lot of things. That they're out here plotting to kidnap people, to put people on trial. I don't know how many of them have any judicial experience, but it makes me wonder. They want to kidnap a woman, murder her. They want to, so let me get this straight. Over a mass mandate that they think is unconstitutional, you want to knock on a woman's door, kidnap her, abduct her, murder her, possibly murder members of law enforcement. You don't hear nothing like this coming from Black Lives Matter or any other black organization. You don't hear this coming from the FNAC. They're all about defense. But time and time again, this isn't the first time, family, we get these kind of examples. Let me ask you a question that nobody in the media has the nerve to ask. What is wrong with the white family? Every time there's a shooting in the black community, they want to run us down with some kind of psychoanalysis about what's wrong with our family. So let me ask this morning, what is wrong with the white family? What did their mothers and fathers do wrong? What kind of music are they listening to? Isn't that how they do us? Yes, it is. The reflection method can be a very powerful teacher. I would love to see mainstream media ask the same questions that I just did. What is wrong with the white family? Why is the white family so violent? Is it nature? Is it nurture? Let's run down the gamut in the list of things that they run on us every time there's a shooting in this community. Every time there's a shooting in Cincinnati, somehow every black person is somehow involved, to blame or responsible for it. But when white folks do crazy things like, I don't know, kill the newborn baby and bury in the backyard, or I don't murder a whole family and scatter the bodies all over the property like that happened here in Ohio. It's just an individual thing. Let there be 3 or 4 shootings in Cincinnati. The black preacher's going to be out, oh, what's wrong with us? We so violent. Please stop. Why is we so violent? It goes back to slavery, right? Everything goes back to slavery with us. Does this go back to slavery? I'm just saying, think about it. I'm Nathan Ivey. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Jill Schiller has been missing in action, and now we know why. Did you know that Jill Schiller, candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, got away with a dangerous offense? Her friends and connections at Cincinnati City Hall turned their heads when she was racing through a Cincinnati public school zone doing 52 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. She could have killed a child. As a mother of 3, that's concerning. 25,000 children are injured each year because of speeding in a school zone. 100 children are killed in school zones each year by people like Schiller. Schiller should have served 5 days in jail as the law states, but being privileged kept her out while you, the public, would have gone to jail. Her friends and connections at City Hall only fined her $60, and they quickly destroyed the evidence the next day. We cannot trust Schiller with our school children. Should we trust her to protect and safeguard our tax dollars? Vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. We can trust him to safeguard our tax dollars and our children.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
The Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson. Since the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor in March, there have been major protests to help bring an end to racial inequality. But hundreds of major corporations have pledged financial support to organizations and nonprofits to advance the cause. John Hope Bryan, CEO of Operation Hope, says he's encouraged to see corporate America do their part to help build a better society.
And you have these CEOs stepping up saying, knock it off, America. Let's stand up. And they're making commitments. I mean, real money. Some of it's PR, but most of it is real commitments and real money. Stepping up and doing real stuff, because 90% of all jobs come from the private sector and 100% of legitimate wealth comes from the free enterprise system.
Bryan says as corporations step up, it reminds him of the civil rights movement, and it will reap benefits in the end. That's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We are a little bit after 10 a.m. this morning, and I got to make a move. Got to check in and make sure my son is good, make sure the wifey has what she needs, and, of course, get ready for the Is It Just Me podcast coming up today at 12:30 p.m. If you haven't checked it out before, it is worth your time. Donnie B will be talking about numerous things today, including, is this real? Did this really happen? Did a white judge in Cincinnati say that systematic racism doesn't exist? Johnny will break it down. Also, she'll be speaking with Carrie Bloom, who's running for judge as well today, and sharing her observations on things that happened this week, including the presidential, the VP. Well, you had the presidential debate last week and then the VP debate this week. She'll be commenting on everything from her own unique perspective. That's coming up today at 12:30 p.m. Don't forget, when you see this promo, please share it. Shanghai Imaging and Sin Digital Media are looking for an opinionated female relationship pod host. And it's deeper than just your average run-of-the-mill relationship show where people just talk about relationships. That's not what this is, okay? But relationships are the core of it. They are the core of it. But this relationship pod is going to be something different. Looking forward to it. And we'll be asking for people who are interested to post a no more than 3-minute video that we're going to post on our CDM page, Sin Digital Media's page, and then be asking the public to basically judge it, to give you your thoughts. All right, look for that. Should be a lot of fun as we grow this new podcast. I'm looking forward to it. All right, have an excellent rest of your day, choppers. I got to make a move. All right, have an excellent rest of your day, family. Let me see. Let me jump inside the Chop Shop here. I cannot ignore the Chop Shop family. Got it going here. Somebody says, "Oh, she ventured into the hood." Oh, you talking about Ann Flopman? You hilarious. You're funny, sir. You're bound to get a gig with the Funny Bone, I'm sure. She's up here in God's country. Can't go to jail. I'm making sloppy joes and crinkle cut fries. That's hilarious. Kush writes, "Good morning, Nathan Choppers. Be great today." Hey, thank you, Kush, for your support. He's one of my patrons. I appreciate you. You scolded the radio host for not speaking up. Well, they should speak up. And really what I did is I don't remember scolding the radio host. If I did, I did. I stand by it. What I really am speaking about is the constraints of corporate media, whether it's black-owned corporate media or white corporate media. It's the constraints. Again, people should really tune into Roland Martin, man. Roland Martin is a pioneer in the digital space. Ironically, he used to work for the same company that I did. That's very ironic and coincidental, isn't it? And now he's gone on to create what I think is probably going to be the gold standard in terms of black digital media into the near future. I got a lot of respect for Roland Martin and what he's doing. And I've seen many of his interviews. He most recently was a part of a town hall. A lot of folks might have missed this. But again, this is what I do. I do this. So I spend the time, I invest my time in learning about what other people are doing and understanding the trends in terms of digital media. It's what I do. I mean what I say. I'm 100% focused. And he did a interesting town hall about a month ago. I can't recall the name of it, but it was him and some other all black folks that were talking about the future of black media. And he dropped some pearls of wisdom. He dropped some pearls of wisdom from his perspective. And I thought he was one. A lot of things he was saying mirrored my own experiences. And I thought it was 100%. Maybe I'll find it and repost it on Facebook so people can check it out. But, people should, pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? So again, Viva La Chapas. Have an excellent rest of your day. All right. Thank you for being here. Please like and share today's show. We'll talk real soon. All right. I'll be with you bright and early on Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. I have decided to stick with the 7:30 a.m. time frame. I tried it out for a couple of weeks, and I like being up early. And I don't know. I mean, is there any interest in us going earlier at 7 a.m.? Because it is possible. Now, if we went to 7, I wouldn't go 7 to 10. I don't want to do 3 hours a day at this point, unless, for whatever reason, I'm in the middle of the flow. But 7:30 is a good groove. It's a good spot for me. I like it. And so I'm here to tell you that I'm going to continue broadcasting the show live at 7:30 a.m. every single day, and to continue to keep doing it from the CDM's Facebook page as well. All right. So just to let you know, listen, Viva La Chapas. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. All right. Make it a powerful Friday. Get the most out of the day. Have an excellent weekend. Get a chance to recharge. To my creative folks and my black entrepreneurs, I already know it's 24/7, right? There is no weekend. Like for me, there is no weekend. I work through the weekends. You know what I'm saying? I get the family time in when I can, but there are no weekends. It's just another day to get something done, all right? Have an excellent rest of your day, family. All right? Shout out to Team NI. I want you to strongly consider joining our mission to amplify black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond by becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show, or go to my Nathan Ivey website, nathanivey.com. Scroll over to the support tab and then scroll down and you click on the appropriate button. All right. Thank you so much for all of your support. If you are a Patreon, make sure, or patron on Patreon, make sure that you check that feed, download the free app. That way from your phone, you can access all of the content that I am providing for you. All right. Again, have an excellent weekend, family, and I'm out. Hillbilly James Bond? Who said that? Who said that? Brent? Who said that? Anthony, you are hilarious for that, man. Oh, that's hilarious. You get 5 ABs for that one. That's hilarious. Ice.